Hello everyone and welcome to another casual review. Today I'm talking about Sabrina the Animated Series Spooked. Now this will kind of double act as a state of the YouTube channel. Just a brief second, I want to kind of explain what I have in mind here for the next upcoming season. Now that it is fall, I just want to introduce this kind of little spin-off series that I'm doing. I will still be doing casual reviews, but I want to really get into the spirit of October and Halloween and the whole fall season. So for the next while, I will be doing casual review Spooked. I was trying to think of a good name for all of these upcoming games that I want to play, and this game title just kind of called out to me, so that's why this is going to be the first game that I am talking about in my Spooked series. Also, another reason that I started out with this game in particular is I finally got my Game Boy player to work on my GameCube, so I was actually able to professionally capture footage of Game Boys and Game Boy Advance games, and so that'll be really nice. You'll have to let me know in the comments how you like this approach compared to just aiming a camera towards my Game Boy screen and just capturing the footage that way. Final reason before we move on to talking about the actual game itself, I finished modding my Game Boy Advance, which I'm excited about, so I just wanted to share it here. New shell, backlit screen, rechargeable battery, it's very nice. I'll have to show it off in my next haul video. So, Sabrina the Animated Series. I have actually already done a casual review last year for Sabrina the Animated Series Zapped. Right after I finished that game, I was curious about it because that game, Sabrina the Animated Series Zapped, is near and dear to my partner's heart, so that's the reason I did a little bit of diving, and I found out that there was a sequel that WayForward put out. Yes, WayForward. Yes, the company WayForward is the one who actually developed these games. So that's just a tidbit of information because they're still around. Just a fun little fact for you if you follow the game developers. And so I looked on eBay and I found a complete in-box Sabrina the Animated Series Spooked, and I thought it would be really fun to have a Game Boy Color game included with the instruction booklet and the cardboard box and everything like that, because most of the time these Game Boy games just did come in cardboard boxes and we were kids, so we would just throw away the box and hold on to the cartridge. So it's kind of fun. It's the only Game Boy Color game that I have that is complete in box now, and unlike some of these other retro games that are selling for hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars, this only cost me about 15 bucks, so I figured why not. And I've been holding on to this game all year long with the plan of starting out this whole Spooked series come late September and October. The story itself is pretty bare bones, as you would expect from a game such as this. There is a ghost by the name of Spooky, and I guess normally he's friendly, but for some reason he's acting evil, and he puts Sabrina's aunts to sleep, and now it's up to Sabrina and her cat Salem to save the day and stop Spooky. This is all introduced at the beginning cutscene equivalent, I guess you could call it. Other than that, though, there's not really any story progression until you do finish the game. It's basically the same as Sabrina the Animated Series Zapped, as far as like controls go and music goes. There are a couple of tiny little differences from what I can remember from playing the Zapped last year. One being every time you defeat an enemy, you don't have to convert them back into a student. The plotline in that one is all the students were turned into animals, so it was your job to convert them. In this one, they are just plain enemies, and you only have to jump on them to defeat them, similar to something like Super Mario. I definitely appreciate that better, because one of my complaining points with Zapped was it was just a pain having to find every single enemy and convert them back into a student in order to progress through the level. I felt like it made the playing time of this game a lot shorter, however, because each level your objective is only to find 3 gems, and then somewhere throughout the level a portal will open up and then you complete the level itself. Similar to Zapped, there are stars hidden throughout the level, and if you do happen to find all of them, then it will convert Sabrina's magic spell so that it actually does damage to enemies. Before you gather up all of the stars, you basically use your magic spell to open up boxes, but you do have to jump on enemies to defeat them until you have upgraded it. It's kind of a pain finding the exit though. I just felt like each level, while small in size, still took a lot of exploring and backtracking, and just when you do finally get all of the gems, you're just going around just trying to find out where the heck this portal is. I felt like, I don't know, maybe this would have been a little too advanced for its time, but some sort of waypoint, just an arrow in the direction where the end portal is. They really do want you to explore and backtrack, however, it's almost like a puzzle game in that aspect where as you start the level, you start out with no powers, and as you are exploring the level, you will uncover Salem, you will uncover powers, and these powers allow you to progress forward. Like Salem is able to navigate through these narrow areas that Sabrina is too big to fit through, but then you need to switch back and forth because only Sabrina can hurt enemies, and just a lot of switching between the two characters. And then as Sabrina gets powers, she unlocks like a ground pound, she unlocks one thing that turns her into a tornado, and most of these are similar to how Zapped was, but one thing that I do wish they brought back from Zapped was instead of turning tiny like she does in this game, she had the ability to teleport between areas, which I thought was a lot more visually exciting. This game introduced the whole tornado power though, and I think that Zapped had this double jump, if I'm not mistaken. This is way better than a double jump. But every time you start a new level, you start with a completely clean slate and you don't have any of your powers. You have to go explore and uncover these powers again. It's kind of funny though, swapping between Salem and Sabrina. When you are playing as Salem and he gets hurt, it still makes the Sabrina noise getting hurt. Or when you do finally find like one of the stars to upgrade Sabrina, it's Sabrina's voice cheering, even if Salem's the character who grabs it. Not that big of a deal though. There's also no saving in a game like this. If you are familiar with the original Game Boy era, this sticks to you doing passwords in order to resume your save to wherever you were. So it'll give you 4 boxes with 4 different characters, and you have to write down the picture of each one to get the password down in order for you to resume back to where you left off. Or you could do what I did and just look this up online. I feel like you could possibly beat this game all in one sitting though, if you really didn't want to write down any of the checkpoints, because there are 4 worlds and each world has 4 levels to it, and you could potentially beat this game in maybe under 2 hours if you really wanted to. I wish there was just a little more variety in terms of the worlds themselves. Like I said, there's only 4 worlds. There's like a candy world, a cave, space, and then a water level. And between each of the worlds, the 4 levels in each one look pretty similar, and it is playing the same song, so it does get a little repetitive. If there's one thing that I can praise about these 2 games, however, it would be the music, because the music in these 2 games is absolutely phenomenal, and I recommend checking it out if you're really into that kind of bit-tune music. The hitboxes in this game are a little unfair. I felt like most of the time when I was supposed to be jumping on top of an enemy, I would be colliding just barely with the side of them and get hurt. Sabrina gets 4 hits before she loses a life, and you have to start the level itself over, which can be pretty frustrating, especially if you are near the end of the level. You have to start all the way over. There's no checkpoints. You have to acquire all your powers again, go find Salem again. It can be quite frustrating. And yes, water is insta-death. So if you don't see that there's water below a ledge, if the screen doesn't reveal that and you jump off a ledge and happen to fall into water, you're starting all over again. I felt like Sabrina Zapped had an advantage over this game as well, where there was more variety in terms of enemies, and the bosses themselves were all unique, whereas the boss in this was always Spooky the Ghost, so it did feel repetitive in terms of enemies as well. It's weird because I feel like the platforming in this game was actually pretty challenging and tough to get right. But in terms of fighting like the bosses, I didn't struggle at all. You know, back when I gave Sabrina the Animated Series Zapped a review, I gave it this score of 3 out of 5, and looking back, just in hindsight, I think I was being a little too generous. I think that's a good sign that doing my scores might be a little pointless, but I do enjoy giving games a score, and I feel like my audience is small enough that they won't really care no matter what score I give it, so I'm still going going to do it for now until it does become a problem. But it is just proof that, yeah, I do change my mind a lot on the game, and depending on the games that I played around this one and what kind of mood I am, that definitely influences the scores that I do give these games. I feel like I am going to give this game a 2 out of 5, despite giving Zapped a 3 out of 5. Maybe someday in the future I will revisit Zapped, and maybe it is a 3 out of 5. Maybe it is one score above what Sabrina Spooked should be. Well, guys, that's it for me. Thanks for listening to me ramble. Let me know if you have any questions or comments about Sabrina, or the animated series, or Game Boy Color games, or if you want to talk about some game recommendations for my Spooked series. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Otherwise, I'll talk to you later. Bye!